Peace and blessings. I am Regina, and welcome to my happy place, Diva G's Reborns. We are here with our baby Maggie. As you know, we did do her eyelashes. Okay, we did one eyelash totally and completely on camera. Okay, the other eyelash I still need to trim it. But what I was thinking about is doing her eyebrow. At least doing one eyebrow so that you would be able to see that. And must be a short in my um ring light. Dealio. Okay, so all right, there we go. Yeah, it keeps. It must be a short because every time I move the wire. Oh wow, it is a short. I can see it. Oh wow. I think I'm gonna have to use some electrical tape to hold it in place. Wow. Electrical tape. Okay. Okay, let's see my electrical tape. Let me pause the video while I see about taking care of this. Okay, I thought I did fix it with electrical tape, but it just went back out. um, and because the wire, I don't know, I may have to actually just replace it because I don't know if I can get uh the electrical tape to actually fix it properly so that it doesn't, so that the wire stays in place. I don't know. Because, you know, electrical wires, you don't want to play with that. You want to make sure that they are doing what they need. So if anything, I might have to look to replace it. Darn it. Stay on, stay on, stay on. Okay, so everything is still in place from when we did her eyelashes, our baby Maggie's eyelashes. So I am thinking about how I am going to map out her eyebrows. Okay. I'm going to use a lighter, kind of like a light color. And when I say map it out, I'm not looking to map out strand by strand. I mean, I just want to try to see about getting a shape, a proper shape for her. So yeah. So let's see. About, I'm still cold. um, let's see about sharpening Prismacolor pencil. I think this is the same color that I mapped her hair. Yeah, this is. Oh no, this is sable. I mapped her hair with a different color, but it's okay. Okay, I want to get the point nice and sharp. Okay. Now the brow ridge is here and here. Now, if you feel on yourself, on your brow ridge, your eyebrows are slightly higher slightly higher than your brow ridge, slightly. Now we could go directly on her brow ridge or slightly above it, not under it, because if we go under it, it's gonna look crazy. So if I can angle myself in a way that you would still be able to see. Okay. Ah, this isn't gonna be all right. Let me turn this other light on. I was trying to see if I could not use this light because that kind of put the glare. So I was wondering if I could kind of, let's see. All right, so eyebrow, if you want to get like really technical about it, the eyebrows go like this, okay, from this corner of the nose to right about here. Okay, if you really want to be technical about it. I don't know, this color may not show because I'm working in the area that's highlighted. And yeah, it's not gonna show. I didn't want to use anything too dark though, but yeah, so I'm gonna just tap right here with my chocolate brown. Okay, and why am I not getting any color on there? Okay, so we got one little dot there. And we always remember that eyebrows are cousins, not twins. So they don't have to be, exactly the same, but we do want them to be symmetrical. And then the other brown comes from this part of the nose, this part, and then it goes to here. So this will be a loose, a little bit of a loose guide. And my pencil is not writing because she's varnished. By her being varnished, it's not writing on her. I think that's the reason why. So, and I don't want to use another color because I could use a color that has a little bit more red to it. I may have to do that so that I can actually see where I am. I'm gonna have to, okay. Amazing how it's not even showing up. And I definitely need to be able to see it. I definitely need to be able to see it. So I can see a little bit of a, you can see a little bit of a line. Mm. Let me take my tailish chalk. There's one thing about it, on your doll as well as with people in real life, when the eyebrows are not right, they will look crazy. So we do not want our baby looking cray cray. I have never had this much of a challenge trying to get a little bit of a line so that I could make an eyebrow. Okay, let me connect these and hopefully you'll be able to see it. That light went out. I'm gonna unplug the light because I don't want to play with that because there's a short in it and I have some other lights that I did purchase that can put up. Okay, so this is a light that I have one up already that I thought was helpful. So this one may be helpful too. They're small, okay, and it's two. Okay, and they connect. Let me see. Because I don't want to play with that ring light with the when I notice that there's some kind of short, you don't play with electrical things like that because that can cause a fire. Okay, so okay, and this has a dimmer to it as well. Let me see. So I like this. And it comes with I plugged it into my laptop, but it also comes with the power, the power, what is it called? Power station, power brick. So that's the power brick. But I'm not going to use that right now. And it comes with a, excuse me, adhesive. So to stick them on the wall or whatever. And right now I'm trying to see where do I want to place this. Okay, let me place it above. Okay, so I have that up. You'll have to tell me what the how it looks to you. All right, so I have her one eyebrow mapped. I'm trying to vary the pressure to see what's going to give me at least something that I can see. Wow. It's okay. Okay. All right, so I'm going to map out the other eye as well so that I can, you know, kind of see. Because that's what I want to do. I want to be able to see where I need to go. And if I'm going to be able to get them, you know, somewhat symmetrical. And then, you know, when you're working on a person, then you know, there's a way that you know where the middle part is, and you have them over their eyes, and then you follow the pupil, and blah, 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 all of that kind of stuff. But we're not worried about that. We're going to kind of eyeball from the little dots that we made. And although I'm just going to do one eyebrow on camera, I want to see if I'm able to kind of line this up where they look symmetrical. And this is Taylor's chalk, which of course it wipes off as well. Okay, now the thing with doing the eyebrows, rooting the eyebrows is a little bit more challenging in some ways because there's no crevice that you're working inside of. You're working directly on the face. So you want to you want to try to get it right the first time. Okay, so now when you are doing eyebrows, there's something known as that kind of like the alligator pattern. Now, okay, I'm going to show you what the alligator pattern is. And um, I'm just going to show you what it is. And not something that I follow per se, but it is what is, you know, oftentimes, you know, looked at. Okay, so I'm just drawing an eyeball. And here's the eyeball. Okay, now I don't know, you maybe can't really fully see it, but you know what, let me do it so you can kind of see a little bit more of what I'm doing. Okay, so this is the inner corner. In the inner corner, the hair usually kind of goes straight up, and then it begins to kind of swoop down. And then on the ends, that's where you start seeing it kind of like the alligator kind of pattern with the inverted V's and all of that kind of stuff. Now, do I do that? Not exactly, but I do something that gives a reasonable excuse me, look of it. So we're taking our same hair. Okay. And I'm going to start rooting and pushing it going up. And depending on what it looks like, then I turn the head and I go down and around. So the eyebrows for me um, is a little bit more, what's the word I want to look for? There, I don't think that there's a hard and fast rule, for it. Now, let me turn the head this way. Now, what I want to do is I want to try to do one strand at a time. And you want to be mindful that your needle is not coming out the eye. We got one bit of hair in there. You can maybe see it a little bit. Okay, now we're going to try to go right next to that one. Okay. And you can see that there's a slight arch. Okay, there's a slight arch right there. So I'm going to be mindful of that. Right now I'm still kind of going straight. And you can see I am taking my ever so sweet time. I know you may not be able to see it, but each time I'm getting one strand of hair, which is what I want. Now, when it comes to eyebrows, they can be slightly wiry in my opinion. And I don't necessarily root them extremely thick because otherwise they'll look like caterpillars on the baby's face. And unless that's a look that you're aiming for, that might not be a look that you desire. So now I'm going, kind of trying to not leave any real gaps between the hairs. Okay. You maybe can't fully tell, but I'm going in and I'm kind of angling, going like that. Um, I'm going to show you where we are so far. Let's see if you can see. Turn it upside down. Maybe you can see the hair. A little bit, you can maybe see it. Okay, I may have to get a little bit more in there for you to be able to see it. Because again, it's one strand pretty much at a time. So it's not something that's very thick that you would see this huge, you know. And because the hair is pretty much the same color as her skin almost. Okay. And again, with this being her face, there's no way to hide, you know, really a mistake. So being very deliberate with where I'm placing the needle for the hair. Trust me, I know a lot of people draw the eyebrows or don't do eyebrows at all. And I also know that Emily from Eborns, she does texturized kind of like eyebrows. She takes pieces of the hair and then she places it, and it's very involved, and then she provides the texture with the you know, using like Liquitex or, you know, what have you, like that. And you know, of course they look very real, of course. And one has to be very deliberate with that process as well. And if that's something that you want to do, then by all means, then yeah. Um, I just like, I like rooting. I mean, I just like rooting. So, okay. Now, I'm still going kind of straight. Now I want to kind of begin to angle it. And I'm being mindful of the arch. So I want to kind of pay attention to that arch when I'm placing the hair. Yeah, I know the comments that I've gotten regarding my doll's eyebrows is, wow, they really look realistic, you know. And yeah, I do take my time with placing them, as you can see. And yeah, it takes some time to place them. Now I've watched some tutorials from some Reborn artists, but I did not find a tutorial that I found that I could really truly implement. Custom baby dolls, her tutorial was, pretty, pretty comprehensive, where, you could kind of try to follow it. But I find that it's the principle, and I go with that. Okay, that's what I do. I go with the principle and I go with that. And I just take my time, and then at a certain point with the eyebrow, we know that it goes a little bit down. Okay, so we worked on the arch. Now we want to kind of work on the tail of the eyebrow. This is still a 40 gauge that I'm using. And yeah, this is human hair, so this is what I'm using. Okay, you can see some of this now because there's enough hair per, let's see, where you can kind of see it a little bit. Okay. And we have to keep going. Now, I'm looking, and I like what I see. Now, remember, I said that when you get to the tail, that's when it kind of starts with that alligator or that kind of inverted V kind of way. So the way, what I do is I just kind of turn the head, and I start to kind of angle the needle to go this way. And what I try to do is I try to not have any major gaps. Okay. I'm still kind of working on the tail. So, So I enjoy doing this. We will do this one eyebrow, and then I want to start to work on our baby Maddox to start putting on his veining. Okay. Now what I do is I look to see which way the hairs are going, and then I go on ahead and I apply more, and I may go slightly below where, remember the bricklaying pattern that I talked about before? Well, I kind of do something similar with the eyebrows. And I kind of shift things, you know, the angle. Okay. And if I need to, you know, I pull them out if I need to. But I'm trying to be very strategic again, because why? It's on the face, and the face can be unforgiving if you have all of, you know, a bunch of holes that don't make sense, because they won't make sense if there's no hair in there, right? So now what I know could be done is people call it combi hair, where what you draw on, you then go on top of with hair, and that also gives a full look, and that's something that's nice as well. Um, but I've seen combi hair really done on the head. Um, but now you can do combi hair. Try to make sure that my needle isn't coming out where it's not supposed to. No, it's not. It's just that I still have some stray hair on her face. Yeah, I do have some stray hair on her face. Okay, because that's something you want to be mindful of. Here's my tweet. Because you don't want to have hair coming out of places that you don't, you know, that you don't want it to be. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you just go, take your time as you're going. Being very deliberate as to where I'm going and what I'm doing. And you think about the angle that the needle is going in. And you don't want it to come out of the eye. You know, you don't want it to do that. Okay. Now, when it comes to eyebrows, I keep them a little bit long because what I want to do is I want to kind of swoop them over, and that kind of gives some of that a bit of fullness, and then we go ahead and we begin to trim them. Okay. Now, of course, that looks like caterpillar eyes because we haven't done any trimming of it, and that's fine. I'm not worrying about, you know, that right now. Okay. Just looking at the directions. Okay. Now, the top of the eyebrows is usually longer, and then it kind of tapers down and gets a little bit shorter. So I'm going to take my nippers and I'm going to nip a little bit. Now I'm not looking to try to get it, you know, the length and all of this and that I really want it to be. I just kind of want to thin it out so that I can see what it is that I'm doing. Oh, and I did find a sanding stone to be able to sharpen these. Okay. Okay. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I'm definitely liking it. Now I want to go and so I want to just take a little bit of distilled water into my hand and just rub a little bit across the eyebrow so that I can kind of try to see what I'm working with. Trying to see if I can get an angle where you can see it. Oh. So I like that. Now I'm going to trim a little bit more. Do my nippers. And I'm just going to trim a little bit more so that I can really kind of see where I am, what I'm doing. And you can see that I've honored the arch, right? And yeah. Now what I like to do is I like to again cut the hair on that type of an angle with my tape. Of course, I do not want to go too short because if I go too short, then I'm going to have to go back in, and we don't really want to have to do that because we want to only have holes that have hair. So we don't want to have to be going back in and this, that, and the other. Okay, so I'm liking it. I like it. I like it a whole lot. Now what I'm doing is, of course, I'm looking at the shape of her eyebrows so that I can get what it is that I want. Okay. Okay. I like using hair that has a bit of a wave, some kind of because to me it makes for nice brows. In my opinion, it makes for nice brows. Okay. Of course, they're too long, of course, but that's okay because I am kind of tweaking the directions and stuff. Remember, it's far better to have them too long and we can work, trim them down than to cut them too short and then what are you going to do? Right? If you have to go back in with more rooting, then you're going to have holes. You may have holes in the vinyl, and that may not look right if, so you want to try to be very strategic with where you are placing the needle, the hair, and then when you are beginning to trim it. And you don't want to trim it like straight because that won't look right. It won't lie. They won't lay down properly either. So now you can, whoops. Now what you can do, now you see one eyebrow, we're not even finished, has taken nearly an hour, right? So now what I can do if I want to is I can go across and varnish them into the shape, you know, that I want them to remain. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, I'm not finished yet, but yeah. So I like to now one of the things that I like to do, like I said, I like to sometimes root so that the hair is going in like different directions. So it adds a little bit of fullness and what I feel like realism without it being bulky. So take a little bit more hair and I'm just gonna go in. And this to me gives that realism, and we don't want, you know, the babies, they haven't gone to a salon to have their eyebrows, you know, arched and all of that. So to have the hair, you know, kind of um you know, slightly going in different directions adds to what I feel that bit of realism. Okay. I mean, that's just my opinion, you know. And again, like I said, you want to be sure that when you're placing the needle, that you are not just, you know, puncturing vinyl and hair is not going in. You want to take your time that you are catching hair, because otherwise you're just making holes in the vinyl, and that's not what you want. Okay. I'm just adding like additional hair to give what I feel is a little bit more, you know, adds to the realism. The hairs. See? Now the basic pattern that we used in the beginning is still of course there. Now we're just kind of adding additional hairs. Give some of that bit of realism. Again, like I said, you can kind of go like slightly above, slightly below the line. That way you know, it looks more real. Okay, I want to get a little bit in here. And then that might be all I need. Okay. See, we have additional hairs there now. Let's see. We have some additional hair. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to kind of angle it going toward the tail of the eyebrow. And then we're going to nip it. And you be careful that you're not nipping the hair that you rooted in the scalp. Right? That's one of the reasons I like using the nippers, because they're smaller and there's possibly less of a chance that you might go where you don't want to go. Again, we are just getting the shape, excuse me, the shape and the length that we want. And again, I want it to look a little bit, you know, kind of like, you know, unkempt, right? I'm trying to see if my shears, my hair cutting shears would work here. The nice thing about these shears, you know, they're hair cutting shears, so they give that bit of, you know, uneven kind of thinning out kind of look. Okay, I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. Now I am going to further tweak it. See? Now it looks very natural. I don't think it looks like caterpillars. I think it looks nice. And see, I'm still tweaking it because I can see you do. I mean, I do want it to be somewhat wiry because I think that adds to that bit of realism. But I don't want, I don't want the hair to be, like so uneven that, you know, it doesn't look like it even belongs on her. We were fortunate that, we didn't have to pull out any hairs anywhere. And that I think she's coming along quite nice. Remember I said that I wanted to reborn Maggie, where her features are soft. And I think that we are achieving that. I think everything, of course, takes time, and it is, your perception of it. Now I see one little hair that is nice, but I think instead of I think I want to have maybe one less hair in that follicle. Now what I'm doing is I'm not per se removing hair. I'm just thinning it out, so to speak. If I feel that there is more, you know, if I feel that there's an example, maybe 4 hairs in a follicle, maybe I want to try to see if I can get or remove one. Because it is a baby. And babies they tend to have barely their eyebrows. Most do have barely their eyebrows. Try to get an angle that you can. Okay, I think they look really good. Turn this light back on. And like I said, what I may do is I may lay it down in the varnish. You know, go back across maybe with the varnish so that it kind of stays in, you know, particular direction. Okay. Trying to get the length. And again, remember, we kind of sweep the hair going toward the tail. I want to take a nice picture of that. Let's see. So can get a nice picture. Okay, I want to see if I can show you more of the what it looks like on my phone. It might be a little bit better visual. Okay. Now I don't think that looks like, I don't think it's overdone. I think it looks nice for a baby. You can see her lashes. And one eyebrow took an hour, just over an hour, right? But I think you can see that the time spent was well, well worth the amount of time. And what I will do is possibly, like I said, I may go on ahead and varnish it so that the hairs lie in a particular direction. Right? I like, I like. Well, I would like to also encourage you to please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Come back again real soon. We will be working on our baby Maddox next. Remember, we primed him on yesterday, so he's nice and, you know, dried and, cured. So we can begin to vein him. And I think we will do some modeling on our Mr. Maddox. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed this detailed tutorial. And I'm just trying to see if I can get like other angles where you can really like see her. So please do enjoy your day. Stay safe. Peace and blessings.